Okay, in this video, I will show you how to understand concepts in a box. So I'll discuss box concept with you because you need to understand box concept to be a good website designer. Okay, so here is how a box concept looks like. So say we have this box, and then first of all, you have to notice that everything in a website is a box, represents a box. This is a box. This is a box. This is a box. This is a box on its own, hidden. So let's just say this is a box so that you understand what we are talking about. The inside of the box. This is the inside of the box. And then we have the outside of the box here. So, all right. So now we have the inside of the box and the outside of the box over here. Now, this is the box. The space that we have inside the box, inside any of these boxes, like this one you've seen covered with red, the space inside is called padding. Okay, so for any element, the space you need to increase or decrease inside the box is called padding, whereas the space you need to increase or decrease outside the box is called margin. Okay, so this is just what the concept looks like. So say I had a text here and I needed the text to have a greater space in between it like this. So we will need to increase the padding. Say I wanted the distance between this first red paragraph and this one to be increased. I wanted this to shift down a bit. Then I would need to increase the margin. So this is all margin. Every space outside the box is called margin, whereas all the spaces inside the box is called padding. So now this line in particular, this line like this, these lines that you've seen here. So these lines, this one, they are called borders. So border is the line that separates margin from padding. I hope you understand. So all the elements in HTML have padding and have margin. So as a website designer, you need to know how to increase the padding and the margin to make your typography, to make the aesthetics of your website to be very beautiful. So we will see how to do this in practical terms, but what you have to take note is that the line here is margin, okay, and this is the line. The line here is margin, so we have margin all over. The inside is called padding, and the outside, sorry, the line here is called border, not margin. My mistake. The line there is called border, so I have to erase this. So the line here is called border, the inside is called padding, and the outside is called margin. So whichever effect you want to take, you have to understand what you have to increase or decrease. So let's see how to do this in our CSS. All right. So here is what you do. Just add padding, maybe 20 pixels, and then you see the padding in effect on these two paragraphs. Okay, so you now see that the space between this you see that the space between inside the box is now expanded because we expanded our paragraph. Okay, so this is what we call padding, the space inside the box. Space inside the box. So it's called padding. So we will also see how to increase the space outside the box so that you see what we are talking about. So I'll also add margin, 25 pixels. And then you see that the space outside the box has been increased as well for both of them. Okay, so we will see how to add borders to this. So the way we add borders is by doing border, border 5 pixels solid, say white. Yeah. So let's see how that will be. So we now have white borders. We now have white borders that are surrounding um, the text. So this is a way we can see the border is a line between the margin and the padding. This is the padding, this is the margin, and this is the border. So that's how you leverage the power of box concepts to bring out very beautiful designs for your websites. Okay, then there is something else I would like to show you briefly. Now, when we talk about most of the elements in HTML, we won't just apply padding to all the sides at once. There are times you need to add padding to the top, or maybe to the left only, or to the right, or to the bottom. So there's a way to do this. You can actually, one of the ways to do it is to actually come here and say margin top, something like that, and it will only apply to the top. So you see that the margin top only changes, but the margin left and right are not being changed. So, but the proper way you would always add this would be, maybe you define your margin like this, then you have 4 elements. Like, let me show you an example here. You have margin like this, then you have top, right, bottom, left. Okay, this is syntax. So if you wanted margin on the right only, you would have to put out this. Let me just comment this. If you wanted margin on your right only, then you have to make the first one 0, maybe make the second one 50 pixels so that you see the changes, make the bottom 0 and make the left 0. So you can see that this represents the top, this represents the right, this represents the bottom, and this represents the left. So it's moving clockwise from top to the left, from top to the left, clockwise. So this is how you set margin for any of them. Okay, so let's see how this looks like here. Let me see how it looks like. So if we refresh that page, expectedly we only have margin here. So the margin on top and on bottom have closed down. So we only have margin on the right hand side. Okay, so but there are other scenarios where you need a margin on top and bottom only, that our right margin is there, but all the other margins are 0. So the next thing I'll show you is there are times you need to have margins, maybe top and bottom margins, and then you don't need left and right margin, for instance. So the way you do that is you write a syntax like this. This first part has to do with top and bottom, then the second one, left and right. So you might just have a syntax that has only 2 values. For instance, let me also comment this again and take it up. Okay, for instance, you have margin like this, and then you declare 0 for top and bottom, and then 50 pixels for left and right. So it will be like this. So we have 50 pixels for left and right, 0 for top and bottom. So let's see how this will work. So we have 50 pixels left, 50 pixels right. Okay, and it's a shorthand for writing it this way. You could have as well written something like 0, 50 pixels, 0, 50 pixels. So there's no point repeating this. Okay, if this is exactly like this and this is exactly like this, then you leave it like 0 and 50 pixels. So it's a shorthand for writing that. So, but that's how you do it. You can do the same thing for padding. You can do the same thing for border. Okay, you can do the same thing for border, and then you can do the same thing for most of the properties that you target. So that's a way of improving your design. And as we go on in this class, I'll show you various ways of improving your design. Okay, and then we have one more class before I take you into classes and IDs in CSS. I think our next class should be on how you set colors. Okay, how you set colors, like how you set red color. We will not necessarily be using red. We will be using something like this for red. Okay, I will show you how to. So it's still the same thing, it doesn't change. So if I needed blue, I might just do something like this. So you don't have to type blue. The beauty of that is that you can have colors, variants of colors in between, shades of blue in between. For example, you might have 3, 6, B, something in between, and it's still a shade of blue, okay, and it looks beautiful depending on what you want. So in our next tutorial, I will take that topic quickly before we move on to classes and IDs in HTML and CSS. So thank you so much for joining this class. I'm happy to see you, and I hope to see you in our next class. Thank you.